Have you ever wondered why some women dare to swallow? Many men think it's only about pleasing them, but what few realize is that behind that gesture there are fascinating psychological secrets that can completely change the way you understand intimacy. And here's the most interesting part. If you know how to interpret it, you can learn to be bolder with her in a way that will make her desire for you grow without limits. Being bold is not just about suggesting new positions or trying something more intense in bed. True boldness begins much earlier. It starts in how you make her feel so much trust, so much complicity, that suddenly she dares to do things she hadn't even imagined doing with you. And yes, swallowing is only one of those signs. But believe me, what lies behind it is much deeper than you think. When a woman dares to do it, some experience it as an act of absolute surrender, a silent, "I trust you to this level." Others live it as a game of power, a way of telling themselves, "I control everything that happens with my body." And what most don't know is that in that very moment, the brain releases peaks of oxytocin, the same hormone that strengthens bonds and awakens an unexpectedly intense connection. In other words, it doesn't always mean what you think, and here's where things get truly interesting. How can you be bolder so she dares with you? The first thing you need to understand is that being bold has nothing to do with being invasive. It's about opening the space so that both of you can explore without fear, without judgment, with total complicity. And the first key lies in how you talk to her outside the bedroom. The men who manage to get their partners to let go aren't necessarily the most attractive or the most experienced. They're the ones who know how to play with words, who send a spicy message during the day, who turn a glance into an erotic wink. Because that way, when the time comes to be together, she arrives already with an open mind and a fire lit inside her. The second secret is in progressive micro-dares. Many want everything all at once, but the real art is in building steps. One gesture, then another, and another, until suddenly it's she who takes the next leap. And when she does, she truly means it, because she chose it, because she enjoyed it, and because with you she feels the freedom to be whoever she wants to be. And here comes something almost no one mentions: radical trust. She will dare with you in bed only if outside the bed she feels she can laugh with you, that you don't judge her, that you listen to her, that even in the simplest conversation she senses your complicity. That man who knows how to give safety and play at the same time is the very one with whom she will dare to break taboos, to explore fantasies, and to do what many think is strange, but is in fact part of her nature. That's why, when a woman swallows, don't see it as an isolated act. See it as a door opening into something much bigger, a reflection of trust, of connection, and of shared boldness. And that's where you two can discover that being bolder doesn't mean pushing her. It means creating the perfect atmosphere for her to surrender to you without fear. Now, let's get into what many really don't know. When she dares to swallow, she's not always thinking about you. Often, she's thinking about herself. It can be a personal challenge, a way of testing herself, of saying, "I'm free, I decide. I control both my pleasure and yours." That psychological dimension is far more powerful than most men imagine, because it breaks away from the idea that she only does it to please you. And once you understand that, you stop seeing it as a reward and start seeing it as a sign that she feels safe, desired, even empowered with you. And what if she never does it? Does that mean she doesn't trust you? Not at all. Here's the fact that many ignore. There are women who, even if they never do it, can still be just as bold, just as intense, and just as uninhibited in other ways. Because what really matters is not the specific act, but the level of freedom and authenticity she feels in intimacy. That's why being daring with her doesn't mean pushing her to do what others have done, but discovering with her what daring truly means for both of you. Think about this. A woman can be more aroused by a bold whisper in her ear than by the most extreme practice. What matters is the erotic charge of the moment, the secret you share, the silent game of complicity that builds between you and her. That complicity, believe me, is the strongest aphrodisiac there is. And once you create it, everything else flows naturally, even what once seemed impossible. Another thing almost no one talks about: a woman's boldness in bed is directly tied to how she experiences her desire outside of bed. Women who feel free in life, who know they are heard, valued, and respected, are often the ones who allow themselves to explore the most. And that's where your role comes in. You're not just her lover, you're her accomplice in freedom. That freedom, more than any technique, is the true key to her surrender. And if you ask me, the real secret to making a woman dare with you is learning to read her invisible signals. That quick glance she gives you when no one else is watching, that nervous smile when you get closer than usual, that silence heavy with energy, they're invitations. Not always explicit, not always direct, but deeply powerful. When you know how to read them and respond with subtlety, she realizes you're in tune. And that harmony is what excites her the most. So never forget, being bolder with her is not about copying something you saw somewhere or chasing after what others say should be done. It's about discovering together what daring means for the two of you. And when you find it, everything changes. She begins to trust you with her fantasies. You learn to guide with greater confidence. And what once felt like a taboo becomes the bridge to a deeper kind of pleasure. Because in the end, what keeps passion alive is not repeating the same things over and over, but daring to play, to experiment, to laugh along the way. What truly captivates and excites is not just what happens in the body, but what happens in the mind, in that silent complicity that binds you together as partners in a secret. And now I want to hear from you. What's the boldest thing you've experienced with your partner? Was it a word, a gesture, a fantasy you both shared? Write it in the comments, because here we are building a community where mature and conscious sexuality is lived without fears or taboos, with freedom, with pleasure, and with complicity. Remember, every story matters, and maybe what you share today will inspire someone else to take that daring step tomorrow. Because sexuality, when lived with trust and wisdom, has no age, no limits, and no shame. It's a language of freedom that grows richer with time, a form of intimacy that teaches us to love better, to connect deeper, and to embrace every stage of life with curiosity and passion. Here, we all learn from each other, and together we prove that desire doesn't fade with the years. It evolves, it matures, and it becomes even more beautiful when lived without masks and without fear.